How are you
Hello.
doing?
It's I don't think anybody has a great answer for that question right now. I'm
Yeah.
fine. I am totally fine. I was talking to a friend the other day. I was like, the tricky thing about that question is that, like, the relative anchor point from which we have always determined how we're doing has shifted so radically
Yeah.
that we have to reinterpret how we're doing off a whole different relative scale. But on that new relative scale, I am doing well. I am not sick. I have family around, and
Well,
keeping myself very busy.
and that's always a good thing to be able to say you have those things. So let's reframe the question a different way. How are you doing with regards to fully realized humans?
Um, I mean, I'm having a blast with that film. I wish I could go to all the film festivals. I wish I could travel as much as my film is right now.
Yeah.
Um, because mm, it was such a fun and personal project to make with dear loved ones, and really, really done for the love of the game, and the fact that we're pretty proud of how it turned out, and that it's been getting such a wonderful response and getting into a bunch of film festivals. It would just be so much fun in a normal year to travel with our little posse of collaborators
Yeah.
and hang out and meet people as they got to watch the film. So that makes me a little sad that I don't get to be there for a lot of these screenings. But it is we're actually in holed up in upstate New York right now, and it's playing at the Woodstock Film Festival this
Okay.
Friday at the drive-in.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a little posse, a little socially distanced posse get together for that. Um, but
Excellent.
it's great. It's playing at a film festival in Switzerland in a month. I want to go to Switzerland. I've never been to Switzerland.
Wow, that's
Uh,
awesome.
but look, the fact that the film is getting out there and that people have been able to figure out, both socially distanced screenings and some kind of virtual events, and the fact that indie films continue to, like ours, get to continue to find their way out into the world in this new reality that we're all living in is pretty cool. So I'm very
Yeah.
glad and grateful to be a part of that.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I watched it in Atlanta on Friday night, and I really enjoyed it. It was such a fun little movie. Where did the inspiration for it come from?
Um, the inspiration, it was about 2 years ago, and I was in kind of a creative low. I was pretty depressed, and I decided that I wanted to make something fun and easy with a few longtime collaborators of mine. And Jess just happened to be pregnant at the time, and I was a fairly new father myself, and I was living in the UK at that point with my wife and kid while my wife was shooting a TV show over there. And I called up Jess and I said, I'm going to be back in California for about 3 weeks over the holidays. Jess was 6 months pregnant at that time. We were going to be back when she was 8 months pregnant. I said, do you want to make a movie about, like, all the weird existential terror that goes into becoming a first time parent? And it did take a bit of coercion to get her to agree to do a film when she was going to be 8 months pregnant.
Hmm.
And my assurance to her the whole time was, look, obviously your pregnancy is far more important than any film will ever be, and we're going to do this at a low enough budget that, if we have to call the shoot off in the middle, we'll call the shoot off in the middle.
Right.
It's, you're health and safety and your baby's health and safety are the number one priority, and that'll be the guiding principle of our shoot. And it'll be quick. We shot the whole movie in 7.5 days. And then we just started doing FaceTime calls and kind of figuring out what that might look like. It was designed to be a cheap, quick movie.
Mm-hmm.
The entire movie is 12 scenes, almost entirely in locations I knew I could get beforehand.
Yeah.
Almost entirely cast with actors who were friends and I knew would come in and do a favor.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the rest is history. It all kind of worked out. We didn't even work any exceedingly long days. Most of our days were 10-hour days, which we were trying to stick to because Jess had limited capacity.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I like about this movie so much in the way that you two structured the screenplay is that it doesn't take place within the whole, like, in a way it doesn't really take place within the whole final month of the pregnancy. It basically takes place within this 1 week, and she ends up, giving birth at the end of it. And I like the fact that it's this point in time in this whole journey of being pregnant, getting ready to be parents, and I think that's one of the things that I like about it, is that there isn't this need to have to try to stretch this out over the course of a month. It just happens in a few days, and I think that's one of the things that gives this a really nice energy and pace to tell this story in.
Yeah, well, thank you. And that was, I mean, so much of what the added ticking clock and production value you get out of an 8-month pregnant belly is, it can't be discounted because it really just, like, Jess walks on screen that pregnant, and you know what the stakes are.
Yes.
And that the stakes are fucking high because that baby is going to come any minute. And I think, look, it's a comedy. Obviously, some of the way that we go about our existential terror is wrong-footed and hyperbolic.
Yeah.
But the terrors are real. Like the terrors and the grappling that Jackie and Elliot are doing, I think we're deeply, deeply honest to things that both Jess and myself were going through during that period of time. And then it's a movie, so you try to make it funny.
Yeah, and one of the things about this story that I like so much is the fact that you do start at this. I enjoy how Elliot and Jackie, they both have these big revelations, and certainly Elliot does, and it leads them to thinking in a way that is just completely bonkers, and that's always a fun. It's always a fun way when you see filmmakers and storytellers deal with that type of, like you said, existential crisis and manage to wring comedy out of it. And just and Fight Club's an example of a film that kind of does that, where it's like this character is lost, and the way he finds his way is through one of the worst ways imaginable.
I love looking at this as the indie pregnancy version of Fight Club. I think I'm going to try to use that in our marketing materials. That's fantastic. But yes, it's and you know, one of the things that Jess talks about as we've started talking about the film together a lot is just this notion that, you know, in that final trimester of your pregnancy, you know, if you are having in a partnership and having that baby with a partner, like that partner becomes your entire world.
Yeah.
And the notion that, you know, that like if one person drinks the Kool-Aid, there's a good chance the other person's going to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit, you know, Jackie and Elliot are getting high off their own stash a little bit. They're really, they are both, you know, pushing each other towards important revelations, but also towards, you know, we talk about, you know, we talked about a lot, you know, will they or won't they be the best parents who have ever lived, or will they wind up driving each other into a mental asylum? and that was always kind of, you know, can we elevate those stakes and really push this journey where over the course of our movie, they go from, you know, a little bit stressed out to both profound revelation and mild insanity.
Yeah. What are some of the were there any particular challenges you find that you have when you're doing that double duty as actor and director in a film?
You know, I think under a different context, it would feel impossible. I think especially because in the two features that Jess and I have done together, both of which I directed and acted in, with The Lie and Fully Realized Humans, because a lot of the dialogue is improvised, it can be very confusing for Jess in terms of, you know, whether in the midst of a scene, I'm kind of trying to direct her as the director,
right,
or whether I am, you know, in character as the actor. And I think that can be a little bit confusing, but you're also talking about, you know, a team of people. I've made 5 movies with Ben Kasulke. You know, I've worked with Jess 4 or 5 times, and we've been friends for 15 years. Erica Chitty Cohen, who plays our doula in the film, was my wife and my actual doula in real life. She is a doula. She's not an actor. You know, Zach Shields, who punches me in the face, is one of my closest friends. Janixa Bravo is a close friend. So you're also talking, I stacked the deck in my favor to collaborate with people with whom I already had a working relationship and a shorthand with.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I think on a bigger film with strangers, it could be really difficult. In this context, it was pretty easy because I was so supported and protected by, you know, people who I loved and who loved me, but also who were kind of exactly perfect for the jobs that they were doing.
Okay, and I have one quick question about when you guys when Elliot and Jackie are taking the walk and they end up getting lost in the middle of the night. Was that maybe a little bit of an homage to the Blair Witch Project? You know what?
The footage looks kind of like it was because, you know, when you're shooting something at night lit by a single light, it evokes Blair Witch. It unintentionally so, but I definitely caught the correlation when we were in the editing room. But no, that entire scene is shot with 2 iPhone like our lights on our iPhones pointed at each other. That's how we lit the entire scene. So it's not, It was just that's just indie production.
Yeah.
And the main correlation between this and Blair Witch is that we didn't have any money to make either one. So you get some aesthetic similarities.
Well, Joshua, thank you very much for your time today. I'm glad I was able to talk to you about the movie. I really enjoyed the movie.
Thanks, Brian, and thank you for taking the time. And I can't wait to read what you write. And gosh, I hope that the audience down there in Atlanta enjoys the film.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care, man. Have a great day.